I've got the spores, the sickness. There's the twins in my brain.
Welcome back to a new episode of Domestique Cycling Podcast. No yes or no questions to start the episode with today, as this episode will be full of questions. Today we will try to create a shared prediction on all monuments, the World Championship road race, the World Championship individual time trial and all Grand Tours. As always, I'll do that with my two co-hosts, Bram and Yves. But we've got another voice to present you today. Welcome, Josh.
Hello. Hi. Good to be on here.
Tell us, Josh, how did you get in touch with Domestique?
So I think it was end of July last year. Tour de France had just finished and you wanted some helpers for the race threads. So I emailed in and now I'm part of the team, doing some of the race threads, doing a bit of writing for the blog, doing a couple of tweets, just helping the place grow.
Here you are in the podcast as well today.
Yeah, I've never done a podcast before, so we'll see how it goes.
All right, I'll explain today's strategy quickly. We'll discuss every race in the prediction, and the goal is we all agree on the rider we fill in the prediction. That way we should have completed a prediction we all agree on at the end of this episode. Let's get started with the first one, which is Milano-San Remo.
Which is instantly the most difficult one because all five of us have a different rider.
I like the names on there, except Ewan. I don't see Ewan win Milan-San Remo. I don't know why, but I like Bram, his option more with Arnaud Delis. I think he's more capable of surviving the Poggio in comparison to Ewan. But of course, if Ewan finds his climbing legs he had 2 years ago, if I recall correctly, then he's a favorite or a small favorite as well. But I don't see Ewan take glory in San Remo, to be honest. I don't know, but yeah.
Tell us, Josh. Caleb Ewan, why?
Yeah, so I mean that was exactly my logic. In 2021, he was like second in the group, wasn't he? Going up over the Poggio, it was really quite amazing. He had all these climbers, and then Caleb Ewan just tucked in there, and he was going decently at the Australian national champs from what I could see. He just lost out at the last minute, but that was a pretty hilly course, and I think the pressure's on because he didn't have a very good season last year, so I think he needs to kind of lay down a marker and we're better than Milan-San Remo.
Bram, you had Arnaud Delis, another rider of Lotto Destiny.
Yeah, it seems a lot of Destiny is a bit of a favorite for this race, quite oddly so, for some people at least. I think Delis is one of those riders that I'm really excited to see this year, and if I have to consider one monument or classic that I think is capable of winning, I think it's this one. Of course, again, Tweedledum, we might see him as well. But for San Remo, I think this is the one that is closest to his capabilities. It is going to be interesting seeing if he's going to be able to get over the Poggio. But yeah, I have faith in him.
So you guys think when the Pogacars, the Van der Poels, the Van Aerts of this world, they go full gas on the Poggio, that Ewan and Delis will be in the wheels, or will they have to come back in the descent?
I mean, in the last couple of years, of course there have been exceptions, but in the last couple of years, we didn't see that strong accelerations on the Poggio or from not far down enough to really break the group up sufficiently. You always sort of go to the line with about 20 people if some crazy guy doesn't get off the front end in the descent. So it's just really difficult to get away from the bunch on the Poggio, even with a Van der Poel or a Pogacar just going all out.
I think it's interesting to see that you two are choosing fast men. They both have an extremely fast sprint. So you guys are looking into the storyline of a small group that's going to the line. If you compare that with my pick, for example, he needs to arrive on his own. So he needs to get separation on the Poggio and then just pull to the line or do a Jasper Stuyven.
It might be interesting to say what your pick is.
Kragh Andersen, sorry.
Yeah.
I think he has always been really good since Sanremo. He has been one of the strongest on the Poggio, and now he's at Alpecin, a very strong team together with Van der Poel. So they can play their cards, I think, and I think it can work out for Kragh Andersen, because everybody will look at Van der Poel and what he will do, and Van der Poel can just react or do what a Pogacar, a Van Aert does, and Kragh Andersen can sneak away.
Do you think he has the capability to actually sneak away?
I think so. I think the last 2 or 3 years, in my opinion, he was one of the best on the Poggio. Last year he even attacked, I think, after the Pogacar attack. So he really had some good legs then, but we saw a glimpse of pain on Pogacar's face when he had to jump on Kragh Andersen's wheel. So I really believe he can do something if he finds that % extra to get the 5 meters, and if he has 5 meters, he can be gone to the line.
Do you think Mathieu van der Poel won't attack on the Poggio because Kragh Andersen is in his team?
I don't think they will attack both, I think. Like last year, they weren't in the same team, but it was first Van der Poel who countered on Pogacar.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about a counter. I'm thinking he won't attack himself first.
He will attack as well.
Then that's a problem for Kragh Andersen, no?
Why?
Because I think when Van der Poel is in 200% shape, there won't be 5 riders left in his wheel on top of the Poggio.
I don't know if we saw last year, Pogacar went all in, and there was quite a bit of guys still in the group. So you need to be 200% yes, then it can happen. But yeah, I don't know.
And what about my pick? You guys might have forgotten Biniam Girmay. One of the big surprises of last year. He has a fast sprint and has a decent acceleration on the uphill, so...
Yeah, I mean, when you look at that Giro stage where he was toe-to-toe with Van der Poel up that kind of 5k long climb, I think this is a race that could really suit him. He kind of slipped out of my consciousness after the Giro, but I think that's a great shout.
The only problem might be the distance. It's like almost 300 kilometers. I don't know how that will fit him.
How long is Gent-Wevelgem again?
250, I think.
Doesn't sound like distance is a real problem for him. Of course, it's an extra 50k, but I mean he's growing. I think he's a very interesting pick. He's sort of up with the fast guys like a Ewan or Dilly. He probably wouldn't be able to beat them in a straight up sprint, but he'd be up there, the same as Van der Poel. So yeah, it's a super interesting pick. I think he's more likely to get over the Poncho than a Dilly. But it really depends on who's in that group, if he can win the sprint. If Dilly or Ewan or any other like big sprinter is still in there, it's going to be hard.
All right, I guess it's time to pick then. Who's going first?
Let's go Girmay then.
Yeah, I like Girmay. That's a good shout.
I can give it to that as well. I think it's doable.
All right, that's a victory for me. So the evening.
Oh, are we counting this?
Is done.
Oh, I picked Kragh Andersen.
Girmay is in the books. Let's go to Flanders' finest. I see Mathieu van der Poel on there. I see Wout van Aert, Pogacar, and Alaphilippe. So 4 big names.
Yeah, the big 4 is what they were called last year, I think, or the year before that. So, yeah, I put in Pogacar just purely based on his performance from last year at the Tour of Flanders. Him in that sprint with Mathieu van der Poel, who then let the other two guys come back. I think if they had gone head to head, I don't know if Van der Poel would have won. I don't think he was going to make that same mistake again to go to a head to head sprint with Pogacar. Well, who knows? Van der Poel always does some crazy stuff sometimes, and does like the one-on-one sprints. But yeah, after last year's performance, I think Pogacar wants some revenge.
Mathieu van der Poel said today he would like to win another monument in 2023. He said a third Tour of Flanders. Yeah, it would be nice, but I kind of had the idea he was thinking about other races.
The problem I have, I just can't see him how he loses almost. I mean, if you look at his results in Flanders, he's done it 4 times. He's come first, second, first, and fourth. He's always been in the front group, if not the winner. And I just think he's so canny in how he does his sprinting now. He's evolved so much as a rider. I can't see him losing. Like it's built for him, this race. His power, his sprint, his kind of TT ability when he's off on his own. He's a monster, and I think I can't see him losing.
Isn't it phenomenal that you can say, I don't see how Mathieu can lose in the Ronde van Vlaanderen. The Ronde van Vlaanderen is such an extremely hard race, long race. A lot can happen. But I follow what you say. It's like his results are incredible. But imagine that you can say a race with that amount of altitude, meters, cobbles, and I don't know how he will lose. That's like...
I mean, maybe we should ask Kasper Asgreen. He might have the answer for us.
Yeah, I think we have the 4 best names on paper, and they will most likely all show themselves in the final of the Ronde van Vlaanderen.
The most interesting name I see is Julian Alaphilippe, because I think when we compare him to the 3 others, that the 3 others are better sprinters, I think. So, yeah, Alaphilippe will have to find a solution for that problem. And how is he going to do that?
I think Alaphilippe will be hungry in 2023 after a rather disappointing 2022. Patrick Lefevere said it to Julian as well, that he needs to prove himself and not only need to win the rainbow jersey. I think we will see Alaphilippe in a phenomenal shape. And is his sprint weaker on paper than the 3 others? Yes. But after a hard race, ask Kasper Asgreen once again, a lot can happen.
Yeah, also true. And a sprint like in Liège-Bastogne-Liège, where you do have Alaphilippe and Pogacar and Wout van Aert sprinting against each other, it's pretty close. I would not say that Alaphilippe is slow to the line.
My name on the list was Wout van Aert, who has been targeting Tour of Flanders for, I think, 3 years now. Last year he didn't start because of COVID. Can he achieve his dream this year, you think?
If we see him ride in cyclocross at the moment, he can, of course, but it's still 3 months. A lot can happen, but if he remains healthy, it can be his year. He has the team as well, but I have... Yeah.
Maybe Dylan van Baarle might be the smiling teammate after all. He's been attacking 2 years in a row just before Koppenberg, I think. Might be the plan again this year.
I think Van Baarle will be the most surprise. He can be surprising after his performances last year, but I think he will be really important for Wout, and not really as a domestique, I think, but more as a rider who attacks early, like you says, and then it's up to Quick Step with Olaf if they have some domestiques left, Alpecin, But in the final of the Ronde van Vlaanderen, there aren't a lot of domestiques, so they need to ride themselves. And then it's or they close the gap, or Van Baarle rides towards victory.
Yeah, same can be said for Alaphilippe Asgreen, maybe.
Yeah,
And then maybe, Van der Poel. And
He's on his own.
Yeah, he's on his own, I think so.
he's on his own.
Pogacar, the same thing, I think. Can't see Dem Wellens be there at the end.
Depends how good Trentin is. If Trentin finds his good legs again, he can.
Really, you
Go.
still believe he can be up there deep into the final?
I believe when you have a leader like Pogacar, someone like Trentin can go deep into the final. I think, yeah.
All right, time to vote. Maybe I'm giving the first vote this time. I'm going with Tadej Pogacar.
I think so too. After last year, he's out for vengeance.
In every interview, he seems very motivated about Tour of Flanders, and when Pogacar is motivated, even when he isn't, I'm guessing we'll see another tornado on Eau de Quaremont.
Yeah, I can back that. He was so good last year. It was so entertaining to watch that I wouldn't be upset if he won, so long as he is playing it how he played it last year, because that was a great race.
Yeah, I think no one will be upset if Pogacar wins. It will surely be one of these four, I think. But I can back Pogacar for sure.
All right, the cobbles of Roubaix are next.
Yes, I see 2 times Wout van Aert. 1 time Christophe Laporte, Mohoric and Ghana. Let's start with the most obvious name, Wout van Aert, Josh and Bram.
Yeah, so with Wout van Aert, I mean, he was so good last year, wasn't he? And Dylan van Baarle just clipped off the front, but Wout van Aert looked like the strongest for a lot of it. Did he puncture? I think he might have punctured and then came back, didn't he? And then dragged the group along with him. And it's just one of those races you'd be surprised if in 10 years' time or whenever he retires, if he hasn't won it. And it's like, he looks like a different beast this year in the cyclocross, which you've got me watching finally. He just looks unstoppable. And I just think if he gets on the front on Carrefour de l'Arbre or something like that and decides he's going to win the race, who's going to stop him? I can't see anyone being able to match him.
You always need that bit of luck, of course, on the cobbles of Roubaix, but I think Wout van Aert is a good call here because of Tour of Flanders, and this one, I think this one might suit him the best because of the big motor he has, the power he's able to deliver is phenomenal. But talking about some powerful legs, I see if you have Ghana on the sheet, and last year I was a big fan of that pick, but that was a huge disappointment.
But he had a flat as well on a really bad moment. I think he was in the break or in an early attacking move and then punctured another time. If you look at the raw power he can produce, he's on top. He's one of the best, I think, in the world. Does he have the bike handling skills? I think so. I wouldn't know why he doesn't. And I know it's a bit of a pick that isn't really mainstream. But like, if you can pick a guy in a race that no one really thinks of at the first thought, it's in Roubaix, because luck is very important there. So,
and if I have kind of a surprise on the sheet as well with Christophe Laporte, the guy who had a problem with his back wheel. Pass, if you're going to say something about Christophe Laporte.
Yeah, I follow you, like I said, in the Ronde van Vlaanderen. I think Wout van Aert will free up a lot of freedom for a Van Baarle, a Laporte, Van Hooijdonk maybe, if he has really got in the pre-final. I think it will be beneficial for those guys to to put some attacks in early, and so the Laporte pick is a really good one in my opinion.
It is a very interesting pick. It sort of goes to show the strength of the Jumbo-Visma squad, where they're going to just have so many guys in the final. If they save all the guys, they're going to have basically half of their team, if not more, as part of the final. So, and they have also shown that they're willing to sacrifice one, for each other. And with new riders coming in, like a Van Baarle, I don't know if Tratnik's going to ride Roubaix, but yeah, how do you beat that squad? And yes, you can have a Ghana with a really powerful engine. If he's able to TT away, great. But then you have a Wout van Aert and a Laporte behind you, who are also really big engines. So I don't see how a jumbo team can really lose a race like this.
All right, maybe it may be like that as well in the actual race, but here it's 3 jumbo picks against Filippo Ganna. Who are we going to write down on the sheet?
Christophe Laporte for me.
Can we just say any jumbo rider?
Oh yeah, the jumbo rider. That's it.
No. It won't work
no.
like this, guys. It won't work like this.
But it could be so many of them.
I actually think it will be Wout van Aert himself.
I think it will be Nathan van Weidonk.
Now that would be a surprise, but yeah, it could be Laporte, could be Wout van Aert. Either one of those.
Give us a name, Bram.
I mean, I put in Wout van Aert, so I gotta stick to it. If you also say Wout van Aert.
Yeah, agreed. Wout van Aert. Yeah.
Yves, are you still going to ruin this party, or?
I agree.
All right.
Van Aert is going to win Roubaix.
That's a
We
new
gotta
moment
give
for Wout van Aert.
Yeah, we gotta give Yves a win at some point in this episode.
Yeah.
Next, the hilly terrain of Liège. I see a lot of Pogacar. Bram has Remco Evenepoel. And there he is again, or not mainstream guy. Yves, he has Maximilian Schachmann.
Yes, Schachmann is my guy. Why? He has proven that he's good in Liège. Yeah, last year he wasn't, but a lot of top riders weren't where they're supposed to be last year. And I really believe Liège is a race that suits Schachmann. He's in a good team as well. They have multiple cards to play with in the Ardennes Classics, with Vlasov, if he will participate, I think so. Higita is gone. Or is he still in Bora? He's still at Bora. Higita, Hindley, if he likes to ride Ardennes, that's not sure yet. But I think it's a really strong team, and Schachmann has the experience in Liège to go for a result.
How does he win it?
I think the terrain is really hilly, really hard, and then it's, when you look at Liège the last couple of years, it's always a really small group going to the line. Not a lot of solo finishes, if I recall correctly.
I recall one.
Yeah, Remco Evenepoel, I know. But yeah, like we said in the Ronde van Vlaanderen, a sprint after such a tough race isn't a sprint, isn't a flat sprint, isn't a normal sprint. So, and if you have all the leaders in a group with 5 or 6, they're not gonna ride someone. They're not gonna get someone back when Evenepoel or another big favorite is in their wheel. So it's a bit of a poker. It's once again a poker bet, I know. But I don't know. Pogacar and Remco are so mainstream. I don't like to be mainstream, so Schachmann is my prediction.
Actually, I can't see Remco winning Liège this season, because he has all eyes on Giro d'Italia, and I think that might be a small problem for winning Liège. But Bram, tell us why you see Remco is going to win it again.
I mean, in an interview, he said that Liège is again one of his main goals. And when the Remco says that something is one of his main goals, he very rarely loses. If we look at his main goals of this year, he won all of them. Or last year, I should say by now. So if he says that Liège is one of his main goals, I fully believe him. It is really close to the Giro, and that might be a problem, that he's not going to be prepared enough for it, because I think they're coming back from training camp like a week before, they're going to training camp the week after. So I don't think we're going to see a 100% Remco, but I don't think that's necessary.
So you think a 90% Remco can beat a 200% Pogacar?
Oh, no. But I also don't think Pogacar is going to be 200%.
Schachmann is gonna be 200%.
Yeah, but that's still not enough.
Josh, we both have Tadej Pogacar, who wasn't at the start last year because of his mother-in-law died, I think.
Yeah.
I just think this course screams Tadej Pogacar.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. He never seems to line up for a one-day race just to get the miles in. You know, he's there to win. And it's his, I had a look at his calendar, and it's his last block of racing before he does his home tour and then the Tour de France. So I think if he hasn't won anything, although we think he's going to win Flanders, if he hasn't won anything, he's going to be super hungry to get, a big headline victory. And we know he can win at Liège. He can win in a number of ways, so I think he's going to take it.
All right. Who's going to follow Yves with Maximilian Schachmann?
Me, myself, and I.
Awkward silence. I'm going with Pogacar anyway. As I said, I don't think Remco will be 100%, and he needs to be when he wants to win Liège, I think.
I mean, a large part of me still think it will be Remco, but I can see Pog winning this. Of course, he has the capabilities for it. He's did it in 2021 with that huge sprint, and, well, Alaphilippe sort of messing it up. But yeah, I can see the Pogacar winning this, but I believe in a very strong Remco attack.
Yves, I see the disappointment in your eyes.
Yeah, I have to say it's easy to say Pogacar. You have to admit.
Yeah.
It's easy to say Pogacar will win Liège.
But
Remco will win.
sometimes life is easy.
But those monuments are not always won by the big favorite.
I mean, the thing is, like, you can say Pogacar will win to pretty much all races that we're about to discuss today. And there's a decent chance that he will win.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
That's just how Pogacar goes.
I follow the Pogacar prediction. Write it down.
If in doubt, go Pogacar.
Yes.
Only if Bram agrees.
I agree.
All right. Next up is the first Grand Tour of the season, Giro d'Italia. A big goal for Remco, so we see two Remco picks against, surprisingly, two Roglic picks.
Very surprising from you, Hannes. As a big Remco Evenepoel lover, you are a trader who's picking Roglic. Explain me, please.
Those are some big words.
The accusations are there.
I picked Roglic because...
There is a backstory behind this.
I think Roglic will be freed from all stress he experienced the past years at Tour de France. He had bad luck at La Vuelta because I think, I'm not saying Remco wasn't going to win that one, but it would have been a lot harder to win it when Roglic finished in Madrid. So, yeah, I think it will be very exciting to see how the battle will evolve when they both are there for 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree. I think we're definitely looking at a Remco-Roglic rematch, although, of course, with Geraint Thomas also being there. That's a really interesting extra contender. Roglic isn't getting... Well, I'll just explain why I have Remco. Roglic isn't getting any younger. I think he's 32 right now. I did not look that up, so please forgive me if I'm wrong. And Remco is aging and actually improving over the years, or that's at least what we're expecting. And he has learned how to prepare himself better for a Grand Tour. With the Vuelta, it was his first time really doing a full Grand Tour. So I'm guessing he's also learned a little bit from that, and maybe looking less at fading towards the end, because that's sort of what we saw at La Vuelta, where he really started fading in the last week, but still able to hang on. But he was really strong in that first week. So maybe he's going to turn it around a little bit here and actually try and be stronger near the end. That's why I think he's going to win it.
Josh, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I was not... I appreciate I'm in the company of three Belgians, so I'll be very careful with my words, but I was not on the Evenepoel hype train. And then it was the stage that Arensman won up Sierra Nevada. They were, 2,500 meters up, and I was convinced he was going to crack on that stage. Everything was against him, and he just held on. He was just, he didn't do anything stupid. He just rode the pace he knew he could ride all the way up that hill, and I think he really won me over that day. I think he's incredible, and if he can do that, he can win in the Giro. No questions asked. I think it will be interesting with Roglic, but I agree with you, Bram. I think he's only getting older, and I think it might be out of Roglic's reach just a little bit.
Yeah, well, you shouldn't be afraid to tell you weren't on the hype train against us, because Yves still isn't.
Here we go again. Yeah, I don't know. I've predicted Roglic. Why? To be honest, I don't know. I don't really have an explanation about it. It's not because I don't like Remco, as you're insinuating at this point. I think I just follow my guts, and I think Remco will not win everything he aims at. It's impossible to win everything you aim at, and yeah, that's it. No further explanation needed, I think.
Maybe one more question, might be a tricky one. Do you think if Roglic doesn't win this one, it will be a problem for the rest of his career when it comes to Grand Tours?
I think if he doesn't win this, he's not going to the Tour anytime soon. What with him being on the same team as Vingegaard, if he can't beat Remco, who presumably is also going to be going to the Tour at some stage in the not too distant future, I don't think he'll be going to the Tour again, and he'll be stuck doing the Giro and the Vuelta.
All right, I guess it's time to decide. Remco or Primož Roglic?
Roglic.
Yeah, I'm prepared to fold on this one too and go Roglic.
Come on, Bram. Say Roglic.
Oh, you really want this win.
Like the guy who said Remco wins everything he aims at is going to lose.
The only race that he didn't win that he aimed at was the World Championship time trial. That's the only thing he didn't win. So when he says that he's going to go for this, although right now he's saying that, I'm happy with the top 5.
Bullshit.
Yeah, that's complete bullshit. So no, he's going there to win it, and I'm 100% on the Remco hype train.
Okay. I stay Roglic, yeah.
That's not a solution, of course.
But I can agree against the majority, but I will put in my protest.
All right. Start the protest then.
Oh no, this is Yeah, you can go Roglic, but I will still hold strong and say Remco. But if the paper says Roglic, that's fine.
All
I
right.
will just
On to the biggest Grand Tour of the season.
Now
and
the
maybe
fun
the
begins.
biggest discussion.
Pogacar versus
David Gaudu.
Josh.
yeah,
Unbelievable.
I think we completely forgot that Vingegaard exists, and then suddenly we went with Gaudu.
I forgot Gaudu existed as well before I saw the sheet from Josh. But yeah, go ahead, Josh. Explain yourself.
I've done my research here, and basically, I can't see beyond a David Gaudu victory. So let me run you through a couple of statistics. He's been in the Tour de France 4 times. He's finished 34th, 13th,
Impressive.
11th, and 4th. And that's in order, right? So he's every single Tour de France he's been in, he's improved on his previous result. Geraint Thomas isn't going to be there. That's 3rd place ticked off. Vingegaard, as we know, you don't win your second Le Tour immediately after your first unless your name is Tadej Pogacar. The last rider to do that before Pogacar was Miguel Indurain back in 1991. So that's Vingegaard out of the equation. So the only person I need to lose to David Gaudu is Tadej Pogacar. And to be honest, I'm not entirely sure how that's going to happen. But as we know, when Pogacar's under pressure, he likes to go for it on the descents, and he very nearly crashed on... Well, I mean, he did crash. It was quite a minor crash, but he did crash on the descent with Vingegaard in 2022. And I'm thinking, David Gaudu's in the yellow jersey. He's got to make up maybe 30 seconds. He's pushing it on a downhill. Yeah, I'm confident. And Pogacar's going to slide out, and that's it. Who else is going to beat him? I can't see anyone. He's also... David Gaudu's a sort of rider. He gets stronger throughout the race. Last year, he was 7th halfway through, and he finished 4th. There aren't that many massive mountain stages in the Tour this year. It's pretty rubbish route, I think. But the kind of really biggest ones are in the second half. And his only big weakness is a time trial, which there's only one of. It's relatively short, and it's really quite hilly. We know he can sprint to get the bonus seconds. He beat Wout van Aert on that stage in the Dauphiné. I think it may as well give him the yellow jersey now, to be honest.
Why don't you pick Madouas? Because in my opinion, Madouas was the MVP at Groupama last year and not Gaudu.
He'll be second.
Oh, they're going to lock out the podium. Who else is going to be on there?
Thibaut Pinot.
Thibaut Pinot, come back. We can believe it. But yeah, look, the easy option is to pick one of Rog and Vingegaard. But I think, Gaudu is a rider on the up. He's quite exciting sometimes when he's not being dropped. And let's back him, David Gaudu for the win. First French winner in 30 odd years.
I can't wait for that first week of July when the first crosswinds are there at the Tour de France and David Gaudu loses like 3 minutes. And is going to take that time back on Tadej Pogacar, who is going to slip in the descent. Phenomenal. Will be exciting.
Yeah. I'm
Jokes
not on the
aside,
hype train. Sorry,
Tadej
Josh.
Pogacar is going to win anyway.
I mean, you also do have Bernal. I think Bernal is a more interesting take than Gaudu, to be honest. If someone's going to beat Gaudu and Pogacar and Vingegaard are out, you still have Bernal.
What do you guys expect from Bernal, actually? When he's in his best shape possible, can he compete?
It's hard to
It's
tell
so
at this
difficult
point.
to say. It's been 2 seasons since we actually saw him really compete at a high level. So we haven't seen him race much against someone like Pogacar or Vingegaard. So, but from the shape that he was in when he won the Tour, I think we have to consider him. But personally, I'm still going to say Pogacar.
Question is it smart to go to the Tour de France straight away?
He's going to the Tour de France straight away. And
Yeah,
he's
but
going,
is it smart?
if you see the training load he's doing right now in Colombia is huge.
That's always been his thing, where he does like huge training blocks in winter where you're like, that doesn't seem a good idea, but he can do it. He
But
manages
pressure is huge as well there.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a bad thing he's going to the Tour de France. When your name is Bernal and you've won the Tour de France, you've won the Giro, there will be always pressure. Even if he goes to the Giro this year, people will expect maybe even more from him, because besides Roglic and Evenepoel, the start list isn't that good in the Giro. So if he goes to the Giro, for example, everybody will expect him to take at least third place. And now he's going to the Tour de France with all the big guns, the big hitters. So if he doesn't get top 5, then you have you can say Pogačar and all were there. So I don't see it as a really big problem. He's going to the Tour de France. Pressure, yes, but he's used to it as well.
Do we already know who's going with him?
Castroviejo, Martinez, and Pidcock, as far as I know.
Yeah, interesting team. But yeah,
There's still a couple names to be announced, but
I can't see him winning, actually. He might be good, and I don't think winning should be the big goal, actually. It would be good to see him have a good Grand Tour.
for sure.
When reading interviews, he's really motivated, and he puts the pressure. He creates pressure himself, because he says he's going to the Tour de France. He wants to ride a good GC. So I think he's ready for it. I don't know. We've never saw him race against the Pogačar and others. But yeah.
He's also had that surgery done recently to increase his oxygen intake through his nose.
Yeah.
I think that's a really interesting thing to do. I don't know what I think of it, really. But I'm guessing that also means his recovery is going to get better, or his VO2 max, perhaps. I'm not sure about that one.
All right.
Yeah, I think we're going to see an interesting one.
To conclude Tour de France, why do we think Pogačar is going to win it and not Vinigo?
Revenge.
And how is he going to crack Jumbo-Visma?
I mean, Jumbo-Visma is going to have a weaker squad at the Tour this year round without a Roglic. You're going to have, they've already announced their full squad, which, if nobody gets injured, that's just who they're going with Kruijswijk, Laporte, Van Baarle, Van Hooijdonk. Actually, I don't think Van Hooijdonk was expected to go. But Van Aert, Koes, and Benoot.
The mountain team is less strong.
Yeah,
in my opinion,
it definitely is. So without a real replacement for Roglic, who's gonna be there for Vingegaard to do that constant barrage of attacking that they needed to do to break him on the on that mountain this year?
And I don't think Wout van Aert is going to work that hard as he did last year, with keeping an eye on the World Championships right after Tour de France. He also said he's going to take things a little easier, but yeah, we all know him.
I think the Jumbo team is arguably weaker, but I think the UAE team is going to be stronger as well. They brought in some Adam Yates.
Yeah, Adam.
Vine. Vine is going to the Giro, but you never know that he's going to go to the France as well, as a Domestique. But their team became a lot stronger again. Yes, it are individual stars again, like we said last year. Will they be able to ride together, or will it be just Soler doing his own thing, like he does so well and he likes to do so much? But yeah, I think UAE is stronger and Jumbo is a bit less strong than last year. I think, yeah, correct what I said.
So now, is our big Gaudu lover going to agree on a victory for Tadej Pogačar?
Look, if I was a betting man, I'd probably bet on Pogačar. But, I want to be different. It's easy to say Pogacar's going to win, but Gadu is where my heart is. But yes, for the sake of agreement, I guess I could see Pogacar standing on the top step again.
Next up, we're going to Glasgow for the World Championships road race. 4 different names. Josh, you picked Alaphilippe. I picked Wout van Aert. Bram, you have Mats Pedersen. And Yves has the mighty Mathieu van der Poel. I'm not going to say who is going to win, but I'm going to say whom I think isn't going to win, which is Mats Pedersen, I think. Because he's already going to Giro d'Italia to take that stage victory. After that, he's going to Tour de France. So I think it will be too much for him to take the Worlds.
Yeah, it's sort of really the name came through when I saw the race profile, and I was like, this seems like a perfect profile for Pedersen. It's actually quite similar to the World Championship in England a couple of years ago. Very hilly, twist and turning, and yeah, the load of the 2 Grand Tours might be heavy. But if there is one guy who I think can handle that, it's actually Mats Pedersen.
Am I right when saying he needs bad weather conditions to win it?
No.
That's a good answer.
No, I don't think he needs bad weather conditions. That's what we had in his previous world title win. But if you saw how he's riding in the Giro and the Vuelta, he was clearly able to do really strong performances in dry and even hot weather as well. So I don't think we need to lock him into being a cold weather rider.
Yves, you picked Van der Poel, which I think is a very interesting name for this one. He already said he has eyes on the world title, and after what happened in Australia in 2022, I think, yeah, we already said Pogacar wants some revenge, but I think that's the same for him.
Yeah, that's the main reason I picked him as well. Wollongong didn't go the way he wanted. He went to Australia to get the rainbow jersey, but he wasn't able to defend his dream, or defend his dream, to chase his dream. But now I think in Glasgow he will find a profile that suits him, up and down a lot of the times. Yeah, I think Mathieu wants to take revenge. That's it, my main reason for picking him.
I picked Wout van Aert because I think he will be the big leader of the Belgian team this time. Remco Evenepoel already said he's going all eyes on the time trial, which might open up a little more opportunities for Van Aert. But of course, yeah, it's a mainstream name, I know.
Van der Poel is mainstream as well. It's like the only not mainstream name is Pedersen in our picks.
Josh thinks Alaphilippe will take his third one.
Yeah, partly because I just like his rainbow jersey, to be honest. Makes him quite easy to spot, which is helpful. But also because he had a shocking season last season, didn't he? I mean, it was truly dreadful. And I can't see him not bouncing back. And the course, the Glasgow race, is a bit like the Leuven, sorry if I butchered that, circuit from the World Championships in 2021. Kind of city centre, short, sharper climbs, cobbles, and Alaphilippe was just in a league of his own in that race. And I think if he can get anywhere close to that form again, he's a real challenger.
All right. I'm going to be honest. I think Yves will take this one with Mathieu van der Poel.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of feel that Mathieu van der Poel is sort of cursed at World Championships, at least on the road. I don't think he's ever really done a good road World Championship, so it'd be interesting to see him do one. Yeah, I think Wout van Aert is definitely going to try and peak for it. He really wants that jersey. Could be either of those two. I think Pedersen is indeed more of a out there pick. One of the cyclocross boys, potentially.
Van der Poel as well. If only because in the UK, not run is illegal. So hopefully he'll get a good night's sleep. And then he'll be fresh and ready to go for the next day.
Yves is getting very mad right now, I'm sure.
Nothing to say. Let's move on.
I still remember Yves waking up back in September. I had to tell him Mathieu van der Poel was in jail. He was like, what the hell?
I wanted to go to bed, and I wasn't even out of my bed.
On to the fight against the clock. No surprises there, except for Yves once again. We all picked Pipogana, and Yves is going with Ethan Hayter. Might need an explanation.
Ethan Hayter in Australia was on course to go really fast at the finish before he got a mechanical. His chain dropped, I think. He was going really good in that time trial. He eventually finished fourth on 40 seconds from the winner, Vos. The year before, he finished eighth in Belgium. 1 minute and 27 seconds behind the winner, Ghana. So if we follow the Godu explanation, in 2021 he was 8th, in 2022 he was 4th, in 2023 he will win.
Decent explanation.
No, I think he has a really big engine and he hasn't shown his full potential yet. He's if I can say it, he's quite of a weird guy in the peloton. He likes to sit at the back, waiting till the last 5 or 4K to move up and sprint for the victory. But if he doesn't want to sprint that day, he's gonna stay at the back. I think it's really frustrating for the team at times, but I think he has huge potential, and I think we will see more of him this season, all year through. And yes, he's not a mainstream pick once again, but he is definitely an outsider for the rainbow jersey and a time trial, in my opinion.
Alright guys, we have to defend our Pipogana pick right now.
Boring pick?
I don't think that's a boring pick actually. Because,
Explain.
Yeah, I had the feeling the time trials of Filippo Ganna weren't as strong the past season as they were before. He said he had some troubles because of bad scheduling, I think. And he might want to improve again in 2023, so I expect once again big things of him.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit odd to say for a race, well, for a season where he won 5 or 6 time trials and got the world hour record, but he didn't have a great road season, did he? Obviously, that hour record was amazing, but all of his big goals he missed. I mean, he didn't take the win in the World Championships. He didn't take the win in the Tour de France in the opening stage. He kind of had a pretty meh season, so I think he's going to want to kind of come back and re-cement himself as the number one.
Exactly, that's what I think as well.
What about a defending champion?
Yeah, with all due respect, I think it will be impossible for Vos to repeat that fairy tale.
I completely agree with that. Just to remind yourself of the face that Remco made when he heard that Voss won. That's still, every time I'm like, wait, who's the current world champion? Is that Voss? What? I don't think Voss will be able to win it again, with all due respect.
But I'm actually surprised you didn't put in the name of Remco Evenepoel.
It's
for
his
this one.
target. It's his big goal.
Yeah, I know. Can't win them all. This is where one day I think, no, this is the one he's not going to get.
And why not?
Like you said, Ghana is, he's had not that great of a year, and I think he definitely wants his rainbow stripes back, and they looked so good on him. So, I think he's just the best time trial rider there is at the moment.
It will be silver for Remco Evenepoel.
Sure.
Yves, do you agree with us?
Do I have another option? I don't think so.
I mean, you're the one who put in all of these really odd picks or like really odd bets, so you're gonna have to do it a few times, I think.
I like to pick the outsiders, and I genuinely think Hater has a chance. But yeah, Ghana will be the top favorite for many of us, of the bookies, of the cycling fans. Let's go Ghana. But I think we might forget some names on the way. Bissiger, Koen.
The Swiss guys.
Yeah, I follow Ghana, but I think a Hater or a Koen or a Bissiger can be the Voss of 2023.
You also have a Roglic, which is going to have time to prepare for this since he's not going to the Tour. So he's coming out of his Giro block, and he's going to actually have quite a bit of time to prepare for this race if he wants to make that a goal. I don't know if it will be, but he's the Olympic champion, so he might.
That might
I don't know.
Yeah, it might be the name we forgot about.
But I don't know the course. Is the course already announced or is it already known? Because if it's quite hilly, then I think Ghana has less chance to become world champion than when it's pan flat. And a Roglic goes up. His percentage of winning will be higher.
Could be said about Remco as well, though.
If only faces could speak.
We might have to make this a video podcast at some point.
All right,
Let's move on.
Ghana is written down, which means we have 2 races left to discuss. First of all, the final Grand Tour of the season, Vuelta a España. For that race, we have 4 different names. Josh, you're going for Primoz Roglic. I'm going with Richie Carapaz. Bram is going with Juan Ayuso. And Yves is going with Rodriguez.
First of all, I would like to say those stages in the Vuelta are cruel.
I think they're amazing.
13 mounted stages, I think. I think only the last 2 or 3 stages are for sprinters. But you need to imagine you need to survive 2 weeks and a half to make a sprint.
7 or 8 uphill finishes as well, I think.
Yeah. Move on with the predictions.
Did you see stage 20? That was kind of disappointing, actually.
Huh?
Oh, I think that's going to be a really exciting stage. That could be complete warfare.
Really?
13 ascents of a category 3 climb. That's like...
Yeah, I would have loved to see the Tourmalet stage as stage 20.
No. I think the stage 20 right now is just made for war. It's going so hard to control. You can attack right from the gun. Yeah, except
But is it made for Rodriguez?
Is it made for Ayuso? Is it made for Roglic? Is it made for Carapaz? It all depends on the classification at that point. If it's made for someone, then Carapaz maybe, because he's the most attacking rider of these four.
It is on a stage like a really full out war stage that he lost the Giro this year.
Yes, true.
So I don't know. I think this is definitely the hardest one to call in terms of the Grand Tours, because that profile is just nasty and amazing. So many mountaintop finishes. It's going to be a real battle of attrition to see who has something left for those last couple stages.
It also depends on the flops in the tour. Like a David Gaudu, who has a shit tour, who goes to the Vuelta and win it. Maybe.
Flop. He's not going to flop. He's going to win it.
So it's pretty unknown what the start list will be at the Vuelta. I don't know a lot of riders who make it their priority in the season. But
that's always a problem, of course. For instance, Carapaz said he's going to do the double Tour de France and Vuelta a España. Question is, which one of the two will be his priority? But I think of these picks, Juan Ayuso is the most interesting one. To see how he improved 1 year later after his splendid Vuelta a España 2022, I think. But the start list is indeed a big problem for predicting this one.
Yeah, I think with Ayuso having a teenager on a Grand Tour podium, you have to think that he's then going to be able to win one in the next couple of years. And what better one than his home Grand Tour?
Question is Pogacar going to Vuelta?
Almeida is going to the Vuelta.
Yeah, but I can't see that as a problem.
Just look at what happened last year with Almeida and Ayuso. Ayuso is better.
Yeah. Kelderman is announced as well for Jumbo, together with Roglic, Higuita, and that's it, I think.
Is Gaudu going?
No, only Romain Grégoire and Lenny Martinez, who are higher in the order than Gaudu.
Lenny Martinez is actually a really interesting person to watch in that Vuelta. I'm very curious what he will do.
Yeah, same.
So 4 different names, but we need one pick.
I mean, I'd say
how long can we make this podcast?
We still have 15 minutes to go.
Good.
I'm not going for Roglic. Sorry, Josh.
No, that's the boring pick. Yeah, that was the safe. I can say, oh, look, I predicted it pick. It's boring.
I'm going to stick with Carlos Rodriguez.
Really?
Why not? Only problem is, will he get the freedom within Ineos, because he's linked heavily with Movistar for 2024. So I don't know if Ineos will wants him to be leader in that team. It would be quite cruel, actually, because he deserves a shot again after last year when he had bad luck at the end and the last week.
But still, I think winning will be difficult. I expect to see good things from him, but winning, that's something else.
Is Ayuso so much better than Rodriguez?
Yeah, I think he's better, yes.
Why? Yeah, I personally think so. And in terms of how they looked at the stage at the Vuelta, and of course we only have one Grand Tour to really judge them off of, and then we have some single day racing. But if you saw them race in the Vuelta, I used to give me a better impression, and also in the stage results individually, you saw Ayuso actually attack where Rodriguez was more of the following type.
Yeah, I'm comparing them on it's his fourth fourth pro season from Rodriguez and his third from Ayuso. Yeah, I don't know. I can't say one is better than the other. At this point, maybe if they have multiple Grand Tours under their belt, then we can say that.
Well, if you guys don't like Carapaz, then I'm going with Ayuso.
Yeah, I'm happy with Ayuso. He was great last season.
I'm going for Rodriguez.
Oh, we're not going to have any time to discuss the Lombardia.
It's not necessary because everybody except Josh, everybody said Remco. We just need to say it's one of the goals from Remco. He's gonna win. That's it.
Revenge is really a key word in this episode, I think.
And Remco is as well.
Yeah.
Well, if you're talking about cycling, you need to talk about Remco. He might go to the Vuelta and win the Vuelta. Who knows?
Of all the races we discussed, I think this is the one that fits Evenepoel the best.
Agree.
Yeah, and there's definitely that personal story that he really wants to win this race to sort of close that chapter.
And also it fits his schedule perfectly, I think.
Yep, for sure.
So, Josh, are you on the hype train yet?
He's great. He's a great rider. But, I don't know. I just feel like when Pogacar's on his top form, you can't stop him. And maybe Remco can, but I don't know. It's a long season. Pogacar's already done quite a few long seasons, whereas I think Remco, especially because of his injuries, they've been relatively shorter. So I don't know if he'll kind of have that staying power right up until October, sorry. Whereas I know Pogacar can perform at the highest level pretty much all season. So it would be nice. It would be a good story. But I struggle to see it, if I'm being honest.
I'm actually really looking forward to those battles against Pogacar and Remco Evenepoel, especially on one-day races. Because, Evenepoel, he really needs to get rid of Pogacar. And I'm very curious to see how he'll try to do that.
Yeah, I think it's time we see those battles. Like, it's been a couple of years of us in the cycling community talking about, I think those should be good battles in the future, and I think this is the season that we actually see them take place. We should have gotten it at Liège last year, but due to unfortunate circumstances, that didn't happen. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to see that battle. And in terms of scheduling, I think for Remco, that race comes at a perfect time in the season. If he's not going to Vuelta, then he basically has this big gap where Lombardia lies, and with the World Championship now being at that end of the season, it's basically the only race to peak for.
All right, do we agree on Remco Evenepoel for this final race?
I don't think I'm going to be let out alive if I try and bet against him. So, for the sakes of the Twitter account, we'll agree. We'll agree.
That means we have finished our prediction. I'm going to repeat it one more time. We're putting our money on Biniam Girmay for Milan-San Remo. Tour of Flanders, Tadej Pogacar. Wout van Aert is going to win on the cobbles of Roubaix. Pogacar will be victorious in Liège. Roglic for Giro d'Italia. Pogacar once again for Tour de France. Mathieu van der Poel is going to win that rainbow jersey. Pipo Ganna is going to win the Worlds Against the Clock. Juan Ayuso will be victorious in Spain. And Remco Evenepoel will be the winner of the final monument at Il Lombardia. Yves, how big is that disappointment?
What disappointment?
Are you happy with those picks?
Yeah. I can follow them. Yeah. It's okay.
Which one of those picks isn't mainstream in your eyes?
They are all mainstream.
Really?
It are all, except Girmay and Sanremo, I think it are all one of the big favorites in the race they start. And even Girmay is, I think, when you look at the bookies, he's top 5 or top 6. So, yeah, it's once again proven that we choose mainstream picks and not hot takes.
I tried a hot take and you all laughed at me. So
That you need to do, you need to make a hot take and one that's reasonable, not go do winning the Tour de France.
I'm looking forward to review these predictions at the end of the season. But for now, Josh, your podcast debut, what do you think?
yeah, great fun. Talk about cycling. We'll all look like numpties in 6 months' time, and I'm looking forward to it.
All right, I guess that was it for this episode. Thank you guys for joining, and thanks to everyone for listening. Keep an eye on the Twitter page for the live races, which will start soon. Eve, you would like to say something?
Whenever you want to buy us a coffee, make sure to stop around our coffee platform.
You're still thirsty?
Yeah, a coffee or a beer. It would taste at the moment, but yeah.
All right,
Thank
see you guys next time.
Goodbye.
I've got the spots, the sickness. There's the twins in my brain.